This meeting is being recorded.
All right, so we can officially call to order the Southborough Cultural Arts Council, Wednesday, December 7th, 2022 at 7:20 p.m. All right. Okay. So I know, so Catherine, I informally spoke with Liz and Steve previously, kind of like about the council and like questions and stuff like that. So I know the first part in the agenda was to talk more about like our roles and what we're doing here and if we have questions. So happy to field if there are any questions. Otherwise, if you guys are feeling good about that, we can skip it and start talking about grants. So
I think the main thing is that everyone have the guidelines and the priorities.
yep, and that's in the email that I sent everyone with the link to the grant applications. So do you have?
I have them. I just want to make sure everyone does.
Yes. Okay.
And a clarification that I want to ask before we go through these applications.
Yep.
A couple of years ago, Art on the Trails, which is my project, I applied for a grant and it was denied because I didn't have a letter stating that I had permission from the Beals Preserve. And I know that this was a challenge for the council. You were on the council at that time, right, Jen?
I was. Yep.
So I want to know if that's still a requirement.
I do not believe that is a hard requirement like it used to be. No.
Okay, because there are a whole lot of applications here that would
Yes.
not be passed if that is the case.
Yes.
So just want to
in
get
the
clarification.
in the past it was like black and white, and I believe it was technically in our list of requirements that has
Yeah.
since been softened and changed. So it's more at the discretion of the council.
Okay, because there's another thing that I remember being an issue, and again, just for those of you who are new, and just a clarification is, it used to be that if you had to have a specific property that had already been approved. Even if you don't have a letter, you needed to say there's a date and there's a place. And that's a question I have about any of these things. Some of them are, oh, we're going to ask around town. And that used to never be allowed. So that's another question or clarification. I don't know if you have clarification on that, or is it just use our judgment?
I believe that's at the discretion of the council right now.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Those are the two questions I had just as I was going through these.
Yep.
These applications, because that would have thrown out more than half of them.
Yep.
So, okay. And Liz and Steve, I'm assuming you have not done Cultural Council grants before. Is that correct?
Correct. That's correct.
All right. So, Jen, I don't know if you want to give them an overview of how we do this.
So I guess what are you thinking? It's kind of a loaded term or a loaded suggestion.
So how much money we have.
Yes, I have those details. Yes.
Yeah. And how we make decisions about grants. So obviously the priorities and the guidelines, but historically, we have a certain amount of money, we have a bunch of grants, we look at the priorities, we look at the applications, we can decide whether to fund the whole request or partial.
Correct.
But our full funding amount needs to equal the amount we have for grants this year, which is how much, Jen?
$8,513.
Okay, and do we know the total that's been requested? I don't have a total listed here.
I can tell you.
I mean, I could calculate it. I just don't see it in the.
I think it's got to be over 8,000 because number 20 is 4,800, and I see a couple 1,200s.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I think it's always going to be more than what we have. The
Right.
question is,
$17,420.
okay, so 17,000. So, okay. So that gives us a sense of
Yep.
how much that we can fund less than half.
Yep.
And then, Jen, I know in the past what we've done is we've gone through them and we've said, are there any that we think explicitly we should say no to?
Correct.
And I already have identified definitely 2, 3 that I don't feel serve our population at all.
Yeah, so yeah, that's fair. So actually, one thing first. So when the state issues us funding, we're allowed to reserve 5% as like administrative fees. We don't have to, we can choose up to that much. In the past, we have usually voted to take that 5%. It goes in our account. Some years we used it, some years we didn't. If it doesn't get used, it gets re-granted the next year. So I think actually one of the first things would be if we would like to take that 5% and hold it in our account, we can take a vote to do that, or else we can vote to just grant all of the money.
So that's about $425.
So the 8,500 includes rollovers from previous years. So our 5% number this year is $315.
Okay.
And if I may, before we make a
Mhm.
motion or
Yes.
talk, what is the intent of that administrative? How has that typically been used?
Yeah, so I would say years ago, it paid for like all of these denials and acceptances were sent via snail mail with like return receipts, all of that. So it paid for stuff like that. In the past, we've held like grant, I guess, celebrations and invited like the town and like administrators and public and had like small like hors d'oeuvres, stuff like that. It funded. Or other smaller like things or programs, or sometimes when we would fund different programs, we would buy a couple tickets to also be able to give away to the community or things like that. So there's lots of different ways that we could use it. I believe the last couple of years we've reserved it and not spent it, so it just gets reissued back into the next year's pool. So
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, I'll make a motion that we set aside 5% for administrative costs or fees.
I second that.
And the reason I make that motion is I think that what I'm hearing from some of the people in town that, you know, often this doesn't get used, you know, and we're on the edge of losing it. And maybe, I don't know what the answer is, but even if you celebrate it a little bit or somehow,
yeah,
and put it out in the forefront, then people will know, A, there was an award or awards given and we exist.
Right.
So that might help, advertise and promulgate, you know, more people's interest. So that's why I'm making the motion.
So a few years back, we had an event at a local business, and we gave out we had Carolyn Dykema there, and she gave out certificates,
Yep.
and we got photos, and we promoted it.
yes,
And I don't know how many years ago that was, but I think it's a really nice thing to do, like you said, so that people know we exist, because it's been really tough keeping the council populated, and I've been on and off it for 20 years. And it's just it's important, I think, to let people know it exists. So
Yep.
I think that's a good plan.
yep. That makes sense. Okay, any other discussion around that before we vote? No? All right, so because we're on Zoom, we have to have a roll call vote, so we just go around and like So I'll say Hanson, yes. And then whoever wants to go next.
Weber, yes.
Achilles, yes.
Castleman, yes.
All right, so then that passes. Okay. All right, so if we, by allocating that $315, so our total to grant is $8,513. And you guys can see my Excel spreadsheet I have up, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay. So another thing that we've done in years past is like having this visibility for everyone for us to go through makes it really easy. I've got some totals down here on the bottom of like, this will be the total that we've decided to grant. This will auto calculate to how much is remaining. So it's easier to figure out where it's going. So a couple of things that we have to, I actually think we can hold our vote to the very end and just vote like all in favor or against our final decision. Unless
Okay.
anyone else would like to vote on every single one, like that's okay too. It's more voting. We can do either one, whatever people would like to do. The one important thing we have to capture is if we decline, what is the reason for declining? So that usually means in that the list of criteria, we're going to say they didn't meet one or more of those criteria. And I
Yeah.
just need to capture that because I have to enter that in as the reason for decline when we send out the declines probably Friday.
Right.
Yep. Okay.
And I agree. I think Catherine was thinking the same thing. There's a couple that when I went through it,
Yep.
I thought didn't relate or kind of were things I couldn't support right off the bat. So I think if I would prefer just to have these discussions of where we think they are and then make one final vote as a collective.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah, go ahead.
what I was thinking that might facilitate this a little bit.
So I would just say that I've identified 4 grant applications
Okay.
that are in towns nowhere near Southborough and have no, would have no impact on our population. And those are number 4, number 5, number 12, and number 14.
Sorry, which number are you looking at?
Number 4 is the Charles
4.
River Sinfonetta.
Okay.
Yep.
Number 5 is Build a Flag Woodworking in Templeton.
Yep.
Mhm.
Number 12 is Always Remember. I can't even remember what town that is, somewhere far away. An Afternoon of Brass, which is number 14.
Yeah.
And all 4, the one's in Templeton, one's in Devon, one's in Millis, one's in, I can't remember the other 4th place, but far away places, like places I don't know even what towns they are.
Right. And I think when I was looking at them, I feel the same thing, that some of them were very ambiguous.
Mhm.
And it was, I had the same thing, Catherine, as you did. I'm just trying to think if I had anybody else. Yeah, I think that right now that's where I was,
The Charles River group is wanting to perform at Applefest in Northborough.
Yeah, so I didn't. Oh, I see. I saw it as Millis. Okay, so maybe,
How do you guys feel about historically, like that's a good example. So they want close to 13,000 total for their budget, but from us, they're asking 700. How do you feel about contributing partially to something like that versus sort of fully or do you have a feeling on that?
yeah, we often do it partial, so,
Yeah, and we've like over the years, councils have said like, hey, one year we had like, I feel like we had like 15 choruses apply. And I think
Yeah.
we gave all $200, right? Or like things
Okay.
like that. So like, this is 100% at our discretion, like what we want to do and how we want to grant it, partially, fully. We've had some times where they ask for the amount they request from us is still less than their budget, and we fully funded to their budget, right?
Okay.
So this
Yeah.
is 100% our discretion, what we'd like to do.
Right, so, and the Southborough Rec concert series, they always ask for $4,800, and it's like,
Yeah.
I don't remember what we gave in the past. Do you have any record of what we've given in the past?
I know it's on our council site. It's varied. It's ranged from like, like $500-600 or so, like sometimes we've said we'll like fund one concert. I think one year we had lots of money. We gave them a couple grand. So it's been a little bit all over the map. It really depends on who applies and how much money we have,
Mhm.
Right.
what we're able to fund and what we decide to do. So,
So, are there any other projects here? The other one that's not close by, it's the Discovery Museum. They ask for money every year.
yeah.
Right.
I know that like a lot of people from town go to the Discovery Museum with your younger kids, but
Yep.
I've always kind of been on the fence about them, just because I don't feel like they're really close to us.
Having gone by there, Catherine, I agree. I think it's a nice place, but it's some distance, and I don't know if a lot of people, I don't know if our Southborough residents all go there. I think it'd be like somebody saying Southwick Animal. I mean,
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think the Acton one, I had, looking back, I had that lower on my list. So if we can consider not including that, I don't know how people feel.
I'm on the
Yeah.
fence. Yeah.
I thought let me just find it. I thought that they said that, that, hold on, let me find it. That, so that they have some special programming with families with children on the spectrum, with other special needs, and that through July of last year, they had 55 residents of Southborough have visited the museum.
Right. They
Um,
do indicate that. I know a lot of people from Southborough bring their younger kids there for
Yeah.
sure.
So I
So,
don't know, I just thought that maybe it was really meeting some needs.
yeah, no, I agree. So I don't believe that Celebrate Southborough has ever happened with Hopkinton Center for the Arts, and I was kind of curious about that one because
Oh,
I didn't quite get it. Like,
So I believe
didn't-
they ran it this summer and I was very confused by it when I saw the marketing and advertising around it. So
it's
Okay.
kind of, I don't really understand that strategy, like what I feel like they're, in lieu of us having an art center, right?
Mhm.
They're like the closest thing we're ever going to have at this point to an art center.
Mhm.
And so I want to support them, but I don't really understand that program. I've looked at it a couple times and I'm like, I'm not sure I get it.
Okay.
Do
do we want to like some of the, maybe if we just, for the ones that are far away, like this one in Templeton, do we want to like knock off some that we all agree we're not going to fund?
yeah,
Mhm.
Does that
Yeah,
work?
so
yeah.
number 5, build a flag.
Yeah, that's the Templeton Build-A-Flag. So this
Yeah.
one is
Yeah.
not. And so this one here, the reason will just be like, it's like not local.
It doesn't serve Southborough.
Yep.
And number 12, which is always remember. I can't remember what town that's in, but it does not serve Southborough.
Right.
Remember, that's the one, the virtual.
It's
local
virtual.
cable. So
But
that was
it-
one where like, I mean, we don't require you to have a commitment from cable, but I had written down that like, I don't think they have any cable lined up to run it or anything like that yet, so,
Right. And I was
Right.
concerned about being virtual.
yep.
Like
Right.
you're having this, what's the level of attendance or participation?
Okay. So do we want, is everyone agreeing that one's a no?
Yes.
I agree. And then the other one was Afternoon of Brass. I'm trying to pull that up because I can't remember where that takes place, but
Worcester and Boston was the
Yeah.
note I had
yeah,
collected.
Boston, I mean, it's not, yeah,
Are we all in agreement on that one as a no?
I agree.
Yep.
Liz, you're okay with that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I am.
Now, there's one other one here. Oh, it's supposedly taking place at Algonquin, so that was one. Okay,
Mhm.
that's the Massachusetts High School Drama Festival. It's supposed to be taking place at Algonquin, so
Gotcha.
I think all the rest are local.
All right.
Does anybody know if on number 3, the Apple Tree Arts Community Chorus? I don't have the paper in front of me, but it is in Grafton, but I was trying to figure out how it serves Southborough.
Well, I think the thing that Liz mentioned was that they're planning on having it at Apple Fest, which is
Oh, okay, in Northborough,
held
okay.
in Northborough, yeah.
That's,
And was that the same
no,
as?
that's
No,
different. That's,
actually,
we're talking about
this
two different
is-
ones.
Yeah, this one, I've got this one open now. This is Apple Tree Arts.
Community chorus.
So their
thought that was-
singers live ages 25 to 85 and live in Grafton, Southborough, Worcester, Millbury, Sutton, Shrewsbury.
Sorry, are you talking about submission number 2?
Yeah, I'm sorry, it says the Apple Tree
Yeah.
Community Chorus,
Yeah,
and I have it as number 2 on my list,
Right.
but it's column. Yeah,
Yeah, row
I just
3.
want to make sure we're talking about the same
Nope,
thing, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'll put these numbers in here too to make it easier.
So that application says, oh, that one will take place in Grafton, right. So that was the other one I had questioned.
right.
Okay, gotcha. So it wasn't this one.
So I'd put it lower on the list.
okay.
I mean, it has some Southborough connection, but I don't think it, I think there's other higher priorities,
Yeah,
Okay.
but I'm not sure how everybody feels about that.
Well, we
I-
don't really
I-
know if they actually have singers from our community
Right.
or not.
Well, they said that they have, currently the community chorus singers range from ages 25 to 85 and live in the towns of Grafton, Southborough, Worcester, Millbury, Whitensville, Sutton, Shrewsbury, and Blackstone.
Yeah, I just think they're on the area is just a little far
Mhm.
Yep,
for me, but
I agree. I wouldn't, I think people go to the concert if they have family members in the concert, if it's not in their town.
Okay. There, I see. I agree. Yeah.
So I would agree that they wouldn't be a priority for me.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
For now,
Um,
maybe Jen, do you want to put 0 in there and then we can come back if there's?
Come back to it. Yeah. Yep.
So do you want to start going from top to bottom and talk about each one?
Yes.
So the
That works.
HCA Curator Fellowship.
Yep.
This is a kind of a new submission. I when I submitted a grant request, which I didn't do this year, for Art on the Trails, often it went to fund a curator or juror for Art on the Trails.
Mhm.
So I understand the idea of this. I guess what I was trying to understand is exactly how this person, like what I'm going down to try and find it.
Yeah, grab that
To
dog.
foster dialogue around diversity and inclusivity, particularly in unrepresented communities. The fellowship's goal is to help underrepresented artists move forward by providing a curator experience. So it's bringing in somebody from, I don't know where, I was just trying to understand, like, one idea, there's some ideas around it, but it feels like it's kind of, excuse me, I'm not sure if I fully understand what is going to happen with this money.
I felt the same thing. I don't think it was as clear. And I felt that it was a little vague on where is the funding going? I found out with a number of them, I think, Catherine, you may be able to give us some context, but often when it's to pay people, salaries or somebody to do the program, I'm always a little concerned. I understand they have to have that to maybe run the program.
Yeah.
But it's often a lot of it was, some of them that was the major funding source. And I was trying to figure out how does that benefit I hate to see it benefit one individual versus a group.
Yep.
Mhm.
But I know you have to have somebody that often that's what you're paying for, is that person to come in to do something. But I thought this was a little vague also.
I'm reading it going, okay, so there's an actual date, but I'm not sure what's going to happen on that date.
Mhm.
It says one idea is this, or, and again, I'm all for supporting this sort of thing, but I just don't feel like they're really clear what's going to happen with our money. They're going to pay
Mhm.
someone to do some possible thing that they haven't. Maybe it's going to be a class, maybe it's going to be a talk, maybe it's going to be, let's see here. One idea is a free class led by the artists, but it's not, or a free workshop.
Yeah.
But it's not defined. And I think that just concerns me because you don't really know what you're paying for.
So maybe the reason the decline is lack of definition,
Yeah, that
or
we would require a very specific program with a very specific outcome for a very specific audience. I think that's something that's always been kind of required in these applications is, who are you serving and what is the program?
Mhm.
What is it comprised of? Who's it targeted towards? How
Mhm.
is it a K through 12 audience? Is it an adult audience? We don't know any of that.
Right.
So as much as I'd like to
Yeah.
support this, I think I'd like to give the feedback that they need to have a better, more specific proposal. How do other people feel about that?
Yeah, and then maybe they pull something together this year and apply next year after they have had they've had some success or some learning experiences from trying something. They haven't tried anything yet.
Yeah.
That
I
sounds
feel the same
prudent to
thing.
me.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I think that it makes sense to pass.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So are you guys ready to move on to number 3?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Turn the world around. So the Assabet Valley Master Singers always have a concert every year, and we've always given them something.
Mhm.
And we've never fully funded them. I don't I mean, for $750 is a lot. I don't know how much we can give them, but do we want to just plug in an amount and see?
Mm-hmm. Why don't we
Um,
plug in what they've asked for, and then we can, like, to the point you guys were making earlier, after we figure them all out, we can see how many go into different categories. Do something equitable, for example, for all of the various concerts versus.
Right.
We could do
Okay.
that, saying we're looking to fund it and then we'll come back and massage the numbers. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So then then number 4 was a no, number 5 was a no. Number
So
6,
Number
was a-
4, I don't have a confirmed no from this group on number 4, because we talked about them not being local, but they are Northborough. So,
oh, this is where I keep getting confused with the other one. Right.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. So this is at Northborough's Apple Fest. They'd be performing.
Right. Okay, so why don't we do what Liz suggested and put the full amount in and then
Come
see.
back to that one. Okay.
Yeah. Number 5, we said no.
Yep.
Number
6,
6, we were questioning that.
Yeah, I know I think they do serve, they said what they had for us. I just,
Yep.
maybe it's a small amount, but I think it's just I thought there was ones that were better.
Okay.
I think that's fair. I mean, we funded them
I
in the
think that's fair
past.
too.
So, yeah, we don't have to always fund them. Yep.
And then number 7 was another one of those things we talked about briefly earlier, which is, what is this celebration of Southborough? And, you know, in the application, it talks about, you know, how they have a lot of students that come for, you know, classes there. And so, but I'm trying to pull it up. 1 second.
Yeah, I was trying to find that one as well.
It's so hard to like go through this 300-page PDF.
Right.
Yep.
They're requesting.
All right, so I'm just going to read from this proposal. It says, presenting an annual summer music series, and on July 29th, we'll celebrate Southborough. And all Southborough residents will get a free ticket to the concert and a gift. Hopkinton Center for the Arts has many members and students from Southborough, and this is our way of thanking them, as well as reach out to the entire community. Walk That Walk, a local blues band, will be performing. So, you know, in a sense, frankly, and again, I love the Hopkinton Center for the Arts, but I feel like, I mean, I don't know if they're having a celebrate Hopkinton, celebrate Ashland. I don't know if they're doing one of these for each town to, you know, get funding for it. I don't know. Like, I don't know. It's kind of interesting. It's an interesting idea.
I agree that I think that it's I think they're asking for a lot of money for a Celebrate Southborough, but in another community.
Mm-hmm.
I just find that again, I think they maybe do very good work. But I had trouble with this a little bit.
I would say that if we were to give them funding, I would not give them even, you know, like I would give them a lot less. I guess at this point, I would just say, I wouldn't take them off the list, but my gut is to say if we fund them, it would just be a couple $100.
Would it be reasonable to say $200 and just put it in there now?
Mhm.
That way we recognize that that's something that would be considered if we went forward.
Yeah,
That sounds good.
that's all right with me.
Me too.
The next one, Denise Johnson is a amazing school teacher, art teacher in town. She's been on the council for years. She had to go off because she was on it the maximum
Too
period
long.
of time
Yep.
she was
Mhm.
allowed. She participates in so many different ways, and her proposals are often very well thought. I mean, I shouldn't say often, they're always well thought out and well organized. My curiosity with this though is so she's saying there would be 10 pieces of art that would be on display in local public places, but those local public places haven't been determined, and that's the part that concerns me about it.
Mhm.
So,
So on this one, like to disclose, she did speak to me about this. So I talked a little bit about this with her and her ideas on this. She's got some awesome big ideas, like why can't we have kids' artwork hanging off like street lamps on down Main Street, or like
Right.
find ways to like display this all. And like in talking with her, the challenge is like, how do we even do that and get like Board of Selectmen approval? And like, there's a lot of hoops she'd have to jump through to do things like that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So in full transparency, my feedback to her was like, what you have control over is the schools and having like an art show or displaying there, or she's got a great relationship with the library and shows the kids art there quite a bit. So I encouraged her to like focus on what she can control, and that like if this moves forward and something that like we approve or she executes on, that like that I on the side would be willing to give her some advice about like how to approach this, or maybe the Arts Council could help her figure out how to do something bigger with it. So like it could be a moving display. But I did encourage her to be like, focus on what you have control over and what you know you could deliver on, so the council can vote on that. And then if you want to try to do more with it, like then like we wouldn't be here to stop you from doing more with it. So
the $750 is 10% of what we have. And
that's fair.
I'm assuming that what that is $75 for each of the panels,
Right.
which is a lot. And again, I support Denise at every turn, because when she has ideas, she does a great job with them. You know, she follows through. The biggest concern I have is just what portion of our budget that is, and that I'm not really sure, like, unless you go into the schools. I don't have kids in the schools, and I know that there are definitely opportunities in the schools.
Yep.
I don't know. I guess I would say I want to give her some money, but I don't know that I want to give her $750. I'm always so concerned about how this money's going to break down, and in the end, we figure it out. But
Yeah.
In looking at the what she submitted, I'm trying to see where she said, I plan to reach out to people at the following public locations, determine spaces for long-term displays. But what was the immediate display? Did anybody pick that up?
It's within the school.
Okay.
So like within like the current schools, and it could rotate through the schools, is what she like has commitment from principals and permission there. And it'd be
Okay.
so then like the following places, so the townhouse, the library, senior center, public safety building, sports and rec, stuff like that, of figuring out if they'd let her display it or hang it, or like who knows, maybe some of it will permanently stay there. But that was the part where I guided her to not tell us she was doing it if she didn't have permission yet, right? So
Right.
yeah.
And I mean, like the other part of it is that like this council in the past has done stuff like this and put things on display and like in these buildings as well. So like I guess at least from my perspective and our past, like, I'm pretty sure the library will do it, no questions asked, right? Like, of course, they'd love to share the art and get people in there. We've never had a problem asking them. We've done some stuff with the senior center as well, in the past. So, like, you know, I assume some of them would be easier ones, or because we have a history as an arts council, we could probably help her get in
Yes.
to display those there. And who knows, maybe we've got an in with the public safety building, you know, so. Exactly. Or like finding,
Would-
you know, ways to
would
do
it be-
that. Yep.
Would it be reasonable to, if we, for now, if we think interest to fund at least partially is to pay 370, you know, a lot 375 for now?
Mhm.
And then as we move forward, see where that puts us?
Yeah, I think that sounds like a good, yeah.
Yep.
I agree.
Yep. And then like this one here, I was curious if she wrote, so like in here, so one of the questions in this is like, you know, what would you do if you didn't get it? So it says project expenses would be reduced by either printing fewer pieces onto art or printing smaller canvases. So if we don't fully fund it, like this is a case where she doesn't have another source, but she could change the project. So, yep. All right. So then, all right, number 9, She Grooves.
Right, so
Mm.
this one is proposed to happen. Pulling this up.
At the Hopkinton Center for the Arts again.
Yep.
Oh. I guess the one thing on like this one is different content than a lot of like the performance pieces, right? Like I kind of like the fact that it is different.
You too.
Yeah, and it's part of Women's History Month.
Yep.
It seems to have a very specific plan and she's already, you know, engaged Kelly Grill at the center. Does she have a date? She just has March.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't think she's asking for too much. I think overall, I think this one is well proposed.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that,
So would we throw in the full 300?
let's do that for now, I think.
Okay.
I think so too.
I agree.
There's great supporting material. It's just
Yeah.
well put together. All right. So the number 10, which is the Mass Educational Theater Guild, has this drama festival organized at Algonquin. And again, I think this is a good proposal. I think it's clear. There's a very specific date. It's got a location. It's
Mhm.
going to serve a lot of people. I think it seems like a really great program. I don't know what everybody else thinks, but you know, they have projected ticket sales. They have,
Yep.
you know, they have, you know, in my opinion, they have a lot of supporting material. It seems
also-
like a real
again-
program. It's not just kind of a made up thing.
Yep.
You know what
And
I
it
mean?
also diversifies what we're investing this money in, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
because
all.
it's something
Yeah,
different.
very
Yep.
much.
All
Yep.
right, so I'll throw that one in as that for now.
And Messiah, I don't know if you guys know about the Messiah, but I'm like all in on the Messiah.
Do you guys normally do this every year?
The
With them,
Messiah?
Yep.
In
There's
the
a-
Messiah, have you seen it?
No.
Liz and Stephen, have you seen it?
I have not.
No.
So I was there on Sunday. It's an annual event. We didn't have it for 2 years, but it is one of the most extraordinary performances that I've ever seen. and I've seen a lot. It's they have guest soloists and an orchestra and a choir, and it is one of the most amazing pieces of performance. And it's in its 49th year.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's extremely well run. It's a very efficient, the way they get advertising, they like everything about it is very well organized and run. I support giving them the 500. So that's me.
No, I felt the same thing when I read it. I was unable to attend this past week. I thought, it again diversifies. It also, it's in Southborough. I know a lot of people I heard had gone to it. So I think it's a great idea.
It's like, I don't know if you've been to Pilgrim Church, but there's a standing ovation that lasts
Yeah.
for about 5 minutes.
Wow.
It's just
Wow.
extraordinary.
Mhm.
I mean, I kind of like walk out of there like crying. It's so great.
Yeah. So I would agree with the 500.
Okay. And
All
also,
right, awesome.
just to put on the record, he did reach out and let me know he wrote 2022 in the application and he meant 2023.
Oh, okay.
Just
Got it.
because technically we're funding next calendar year, not this year. So
What's really funny, because the concert takes place usually around the exact same time that we're giving out the grant, so there can be this confusion about what
Yeah.
year we're funding,
Yep.
but we're always funding for the next year.
exactly.
All right, and then we had decided no on that number 12,
Yeah.
always remember. So now
then
I'm looking
for,
for,
community chorus.
The spring and Christmas programs.
Yeah, and I'm
I
pretty
thought the
sure
amount they asked was appropriate. I mean, I don't know how you.
is. So I captured it wrong. Do you have? It couldn't have been $50. What was it actually?
it's 500.
It was
Their
500.
their
Okay, I
entire
forgot a
budget
zero.
is over $12,000.
Yep.
They have, their budget is salaries, rental space, marketing, supplies, materials, other travel, insurance. This is going to be there's 2 dates in May and December, and it's at Algonquin.
Mhm.
So for me, I think, again, very good proposal. I know we have a lot of choirs.
Yeah.
I don't know this one in particular. I don't know if anyone else does.
Mm-mm.
I don't know them.
I don't know if we funded them before. I don't recall this group, to be honest with you.
No, I don't remember. I don't know this one.
I mean, they have, so it's a community course, so invites, gives scholarships to Algonquin students. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I mean, I'd say we put it in the budget, but we may consider reducing it if we
Okay.
don't have enough money. Like, that's my gut feeling on that.
Okay. I can throw that in there. Okay.
Now then so then the afternoon brass, we said no, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
We did.
All
Because
right.
of the
so now-
location.
yeah, I mean, Worcester and Boston,
Yep.
they've got their own cultural councils. All right, so the next thing is all these library proposals, and I know we always fund a lot of things with them, but they're asking for a lot this year, and I think it's, boy, oh boy, this,
I thought, yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
no, that's all right. I'm just scrolling through this document, trying to get past this.
I thought
After
they
draft,
had,
it's like, yeah.
unlike some of the other programs, and I don't have a history here, they asked for the funding for the whole thing. There was this one, and then there was the wine painting. Oh, that's the next one. The wine glass. I was just kind of wondering like how you guys felt about us offering some, but not all, just because they came to us for all.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think so what happens is these folks come to the library and
Right.
they ask them to,
Mm.
support them, right? So
Yep.
the library's not making the money. It's this individual person, the aromatherapy woman or the painting glass woman.
Okay.
And Ryan sponsors them basically, right? So he
Okay.
writes the-
But they don't have a budget at the library for this
No.
stuff?
No.
I see. Okay.
The thing is that like, when you look at how many people are served for the amount of money, like for instance, we give $500 to the Messiah, 300 people come to that concert, right?
Right.
So painted wine glasses,
Mm. Mm.
it says there might be 60 people, but I can't imagine that 60 people are going to show up to paint wine glasses. Even if it says there's four, okay, so they say there's four
classes. Yeah.
classes. So they're saying 15 people for each night. And but that's a lot of money per person.
350. Yep.
$1,400 for 60 people. That's a lot of money,
Mhm.
even if it is 4 classes. So, and again, in terms of the educational or artistic value of it, to me,
Mhm.
that's like low on the, I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
Catherine, I had the same thing as I think what I mentioned before is if it's to benefit a larger group and enhance the arts,
Mhm.
I felt this was more like an art
It's a craft.
recreational class.
It's crafty.
It's a craft night.
Right. And I thought the same thing is for the amount they asked, it seemed like it was funding a lot or the majority of the person coming.
Yeah.
Mhm.
My preference right now is to put a hold on both of those. But again, I'm only one person, but I felt the same thing. I just thought it was arts and crafts, not really an art
Right.
opportunity to expand the arts or celebrate the arts or get more people into the arts.
Yes. To me, it's not. Yeah. I'm right there with you. So I'm kind of not a big fan of the aromatherapy or the wine glass paint night for our funding.
Liz, what do you think?
I agree. The only thing I was disappointed in is, it was such a small community without a lot of spaces to have things. I think it's really nice that it's at the library,
Mhm.
but I think the points you guys have brought up cover it. So, I mean, and if I were to pick one over the other, it would be the aromatherapy, because I thought it
Yeah.
was just like a different angle and
Hmm.
more in the cultural side of, I don't know, just
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
Or if we were to say, we'll fund one of the aromatherapy sessions, right? Something like
Right.
that,
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
We just don't have that many places in town to go
Yep.
and do things.
Mhm.
I agree.
Yep.
That's all.
And
But I
just so you
agree with you
know
guys.
that the Apothecary Artist Studio in the center of town, where myself and 3 other people tried to open an art organization, the town is making it impossible for us. So
Okay.
they say we're not ADA compliant, that we can't have, we've changed the use of the space. So we've had to basically scrap plans to have a gallery and art classes there. So yeah, it's pretty tough to make things happen.
Right.
All right, so the next one is with the schools.
Yep.
And this one is African folktales. And it's a theater program in
Mhm.
February, but it's supposed to take place at the Hanover Theater, which is in Worcester.
Yep.
So I'm kind of curious about this one because
So
I figured that SOS would step in and help out with stuff.
So I think they are with some of it. So like, these have come through in the past. We have funded programs like this in the past. And it's like, I was trying to look for their thing. SOS usually does step in and fund some of it. And then like parents chip in and fund some of it too.
yeah,
We have also chipped in, like, I don't think we've ever done $1,900, but we've done like $600 or $700 or something like that to help offset the cost.
right. So they are asking for, it says $1,290. I don't know
Yeah,
why.
so that actually was a typo. It was, I think it's 1920 was the amount that
Oh,
they're asking. Yes.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And
So
it does say SOS is going to assist.
Yeah,
It-
they are.
they said that the full budget is $2,500 for transportation. And then they have to pay $12 per student. It would be all of the third grade students, 147 students, 8 teachers, and 8 support staff. And then it said that SOS will be providing the buses for the event if the grant is approved. So I agree, some kind of partial funding, but it's a lot for our organization. Again, I mean, I don't know, if they're asking for almost $2,000, what if we,
Mhm.
I don't know. Again, it's sort of like how much,
I support a partial. I don't know what that is. If it's between $500 and $700, I'm not sure what you think.
yeah. Yeah, I agree, something like that.
I was just doing math. I was saying
Yeah.
that 147 students and we'd pay half their ticket. It would
Yeah.
be 82.
Can we hold that number for a minute and then we'll see where we're
Sure.
at?
Yep.
That's
Okay.
good.
Yeah, so the next one is a request for $200 for Celebrate Wellness, which is at the community house.
Yep.
And that's just what it costs to rent the community house. And this is for the Southborough Youth and Family Services.
Yep. I went to that event once years ago. Pre-COVID, I guess.
So this is an art, it's like a craft fair. It's playing
Is it a
artwork.
craft fair? I think it's an art show.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's sale. I think it's like, or maybe, who knows, maybe whatever's hanging on the wall was for sale. But
Got it.
historically it was like a show, like a gallery showing.
The artwork has to have a mental health focus. So it's bringing awareness to the community and opening dialogue. And I
Yep.
think they're, like you said, they're
It's-
really just asking for the renting the space, and they're covering, well, they said they would use the money for, supplies to
Hardware, yeah.
hang everything up and stuff.
Yeah,
thought
I
it
mean,
was a neat
I think
approach.
that sounds like a great use for our
Mhm.
budget, because it's a reasonable
too.
amount. It serves a good number of people. It's right in town. It's art focused. I think it checks all the boxes.
I do
I
too.
agree.
Awesome.
Cool.
Great.
All right.
Aren't we a
That's
good
interesting.
team? Okay,
All right.
next town
All
one
right.
is mindful art, using art therapy to create community art. Now, sounds fascinating to me. I don't think I had a chance to read this one.
I thought so too.
Okay, so this is also through Youth and Family with someone from an organization in Auburn.
Mhm.
We could 20 to 30 individuals can participate. Free 2 to 2.5 hour program to learn about mindfulness and mental health and how meditative art can be a healing modality. The final product will be connected to create a collaborative piece to be displayed in Southborough. I think it sounds awesome and it's benefiting a lot of people.
Mm.
Yeah, and you know what? I love it.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yes, so do I.
All right, that's easy. Okay.
Yeah, so the rec department, again, they always put in they want everything.
Okay.
They always put in that huge amount. I don't remember what we've given them in the past. Maybe we've given them $1,000. I don't remember.
It is varied year to year. Like, I think one year we gave them, I think when they first started all of the concert series, I think we gave them like $2,200. So we like kickstarted this one of their first years. And then the council showed up and worked the concerts also that entire summer. But it's varied over the years. Like sometimes we paid for one concert or paid for two. I believe this number here was for 6 concerts. So it's like $800 per concert.
Mm-hmm.
So we've done things like that. We're like, okay, we're gonna we're funding one of them and not others, or we funded a couple of them. So
So,
The idea of funding one or two, not all of them.
yeah,
I agree.
especially since Tim showed up and helped us get in our Zoom.
So
No,
can
I
we-
think
Can't they head up other can't there's a lot of other organizations
yeah,
in
yeah.
town could help them?
Well,
Yeah.
they have a town budget too. I mean, keep in mind that
Right.
Well, so Claire, since full disclosure, I'm on that commission. They don't have a budget from the town. They have a revolving fund, but it can't be used for things like this.
Got it.
Fund
Okay.
is for like the programming that they do that brings in money, but they do solicit donations. I do believe the other Southborough Fund has given them some money as well.
Southborough Community Fund.
Yes, and then going to like the local bank, the local pizza place, like places like that for funding as well.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. I mean, I would be in for like, say, 2 concerts. That's my gut feeling on
Okay.
it.
Yep, $1,600.
Okay.
Now, Westboro Community Chorus is another chorus I'm kind of new to.
Mhm.
60-member chorus,
I believe that is one that we have funded in the past before.
May 2023, Gibbons Middle School, 400 people served. So it's one concert, includes 30 weekly rehearsals, 60 singers. Ticket price, 400 people attend.
Do they talk about their Southborough participation?
They
It
just
said-
say, it says from Westboro, Southborough, and 23 surrounding area towns.
Right.
Mm.
It says that's their service. It doesn't say where the chorus members are from, but
That's okay.
yeah, I mean, I'm fine with funding them.
I'm
Me
fine.
too. Me too.
I can't really
So-
see your spreadsheet very
I was just
well.
gonna say I have to
Blow it up.
I have to hold this closer to my eyes, so I'm going to do this
So
video.
I got good glasses, I can see.
if I blow it up, you're not like, then you won't see everything, but like
What's the total that we've
we
spent?
7632, we've got $881 left to spend.
Wow, isn't that great?
I know, it's kind of nice.
I'm
So
so
we-
pleased.
So we did partial for Denise Johnson, so that's one to
Yeah.
think about.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
I agree.
we did a smaller amount for the Hopkinton Center for the Arts Celebrate Southborough Day.
Right.
And we haven't put in money, like if we wanted to do one of the aromatherapies, I didn't put that in yet.
Oh, right.
So I
Right.
could put
So what would one, yeah, 325?
5 for one. So
And can
start-
we help out Denise's project? Because I know
Yeah,
it's
give Denise
local.
more than, yeah.
Okay.
So
So we could-
$181 left. So we-
Um,
Oh, wait, no.
it's really hard for me to see this, but I'm like, pardon me with my eyes way up against the screen here.
Sorry,
No, I know, this is the way it goes.
lower, we did that fully. I'm just looking to see what we didn't fully fund. Funded one of the aromatherapies, we funded half of the kids to the folk arts. And then 2 of the concerts, but otherwise we funded most of them.
Yeah,
Um,
you want to just add the rest to Hopkinton Celebrate Southborough? I don't know.
We could add more to the Southborough kids go to the Hanover.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
was
Yeah,
thinking.
let's do that. I think that
Okay.
actually, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I like that opportunity, especially the cultural diversity and the
Totally.
kind of history storytelling. I thought that would be really neat.
Yeah,
So let me just clarify,
Yep.
you took out the 5%,
Yep.
Jen?
yep, that's already
Okay.
out. Yep.
There's a
Um,
nice diversity this year.
Yeah, yes, I agree.
It breaks my heart that, so just so you guys know, I normally apply for a grant for Art on the Trails, but I thought there was no Arts Council this year. So I didn't apply, and I could have really used that for my budget, but gonna have to figure it out another way.
Why did you
Liz,
think there would
what-
be no
Liz,
Arts
what's-
Council money?
Well, because there was no Arts Council. There was no Arts Council to vote on the grants.
Right.
Yeah, that's where you're saying earlier, you missed like the all call for members that went out, so.
I didn't get any email about it because I didn't even know I had a town email.
mm.
I had no idea. So
Do you read my Southborough?
yeah, but see, I was on the council with Mary Pike Kratz and Lynn Davis, and they said we're all resigning from the council and you're going to be the only one left. So if you want to stay on the council, you're going to be the only one. And I was going to resign because I didn't want to be the only one. And I just never resigned. And I even spoke to a couple people and said, there's no council, not enough people to administer grants this year. So I didn't apply because I knew that there was nobody to do it.
What's the
And
normal budget for that?
What's that?
What's the normal budget for Arts on the Trail?
I get 6,500 from Southborough Community Fund, and I usually ask the Arts Council for 500.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Mm.
And yeah, that covers most, pretty much all of it. I mean, I sometimes get some money from Northborough, but last year they decided to do their own art on the trails and not fund mine. So, I mean, that's fine. But I'm just going to be $500 short. I've got to figure out another way to fund it this year. Next year. Anyway, so with that in mind and it being 8:30, I'm very impressed that we managed to pull this off in an hour and 10 minutes. Can we vote to agree?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
I agree.
Right,
Right.
Hanson, yes.
Gillies, yes.
Castleman, yes.
Weber, yes.
Sorry, Steve, you made the motion, right? And
Yeah.
then Catherine, you second. Okay,
Yes.
so I have to watch back our meeting for minutes. Okay, so then we're good with that. I will, so the way this will work is that I believe it's all online right now. So I will go in probably Friday, and all the ones that are hard declines, like no funding, I decline them.
Mhm.
I have to wait, I think 14 days, because anyone that we declined could contest it with
Mhm.
the Mass Cultural Council and say like, that are whatever, we did something wrong or they don't agree or something like that. So we have to give them a full 2 weeks to contest it. And then after that period, which I've never had anyone contest them, but after that period, then we can announce to these grant recipients how much they've been awarded. And I believe it is issued in January that the funds are actually dispersed from the state directly to these recipients. So we used to have to manage all of their receipts and reimburse them, and it
Yeah.
has now changed. So I believe this is all on good faith. We disperse these, and then like as a council, we try to keep tabs on what they're doing or help cross promote it on like our Facebook page or like rally people to participate. But
Right.
after we disperse it, we're basically done unless we want to get involved. So
Yeah, so last year was the first year that I didn't have to apply for my money. It came to me, again, as you said, in good faith. So they just sent me the check versus me having to send a receipt or an invoice.
yep.
It wasn't much easier from an administrative perspective, and I'm sure it is for the state and for the local councils too.
Yeah, we used to have to chase everyone around and get multiple signatures and get it processed with the town and follow up. Like it was and I mean, I think that alone is why people didn't want to be on the council, right?
Yeah, I was told, join the council, it's 1 or 2 meetings a year. And then what happens is a lot of enthusiastic people get on the council and want to do all these programs that they find out they can't do because you really need to have a nonprofit Friends of the Arts council to do that. That this group is really for administering grants.
Which I think is a great opportunity. I mean, I think there's like Liz said, a lot of great programs and projects. And I'd hate to see the money go away.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm thrilled you guys joined and happy we did this. Thank you, Jen, for spearheading it. Greatly
Yeah.
appreciate it.
No worries. Just 2 administrative things and then I'll let everyone loose. Like one is technically you're supposed to be voting in a chair and co-chair of this.
Okay.
So
Do you want me to be the co-chair?
I'm up for anything.
Will you be the chair,
And would you
please?
like to be the chair?
So my deal is I will chair it if what we're doing is like maybe a grant reception and then voting once a year.
Yep.
Yes.
And that is like if anyone joins and wants to do more, happy to relinquish and let them take over.
Yes.
I'm so well versed in open meeting law and all that, like this comes second nature. So I have no problem chairing to do like administrative stuff, but if anyone wants to do more, I will relinquish it, let them take over and run with this. So
I am perfectly happy to be co-chair with the same requirements that we're not going to be doing lots of programs. Can't happen with my capacity, but yes, a grant reception somewhere would be great.
I think that would be awesome. So I move that Jen is chair and Catherine is co-chair.
okay, so a second.
Second that. So, are there still openings on the committee?
The council, yeah.
Council?
So there's always open. Yes.
Let me check that out. Okay.
I don't think
Yeah.
there's a limit to the number. I think do you know how many, is there a limit?
So I need to go digging through some emails because I love our town clerk, but he and I had a disagreement about this the other day. This council is governed by state law, not town. So I
Okay.
believe what I've done and where we landed in the past is that, so the state says we have to have at least 3 people on the council to vote through grants. If you don't
Okay.
have 3, like we lose funding. I believe we do not have a council size though. So every other committee in town has like, it's like, I don't know, 7 people at large and
Mhm.
like, so 5 makes quorum. I actually believe ours is however many are appointed is how many we have, and then like you figure out quorum from that. But
Okay.
the minimum the state says is 3. So a quorum of 3 to vote is the minimum. Jim told me last week he thinks I'm wrong. He was going to go research it. So I think I just need to dig up the emails where we did this like 7 years ago.
Yeah.
So because like, so when someone resigns, it
Mhm.
just like reduces our quorum, which makes it easier for us to meet. If a bunch of people want to join, I'm perfectly fine with that, but then they have to agree to show up to vote. Because if we can't get quorum, we're going to get stuck and then try to.
Right.
And what we had to do years ago is I basically had to go to board of selectmen and ask them to kick people off, right? Because if you
Yeah.
can't show up to vote,
Oh,
you can't vote, and then we get stuck, and then we're scrambling to get quorum to vote. So
Right.
that's like I believe we could have as many as we wanted appointed, as long as they show up so we can vote with quorum. So
Right.
And my recommendation is, I agree that it can be as many, but maybe 5 is a sweet spot that
yeah.
for now.
Yeah, and so, and again, like, I believe we won't need that until next year. So I
Right.
think this is a good thing to say, like, so we can, I love the idea of the grant reception. It's always fun. And it's nice to recognize the people that are bringing art to our community, right? So we can figure out how to plan for that and hold that. And
Yes.
then, so like, we probably need 1 meeting to sort through that, and then we'll just execute on it. And we really do not need to meet again until next year to vote on grants. So.
Hallelujah.
Okay, so we had a motion and a second, so we need a roll call vote. So Hanson, yes.
Achilles, yes.
Weber, yes.
Councilwoman, yes.
All right, so that passes. So then the only other thing would be, do we want to set a date for the next meeting now while we have everyone?
Is it okay after Christmas?
100%. Yeah. So like, so technically, like, grants are like dispersed, I think, around the 17th of January. So it could be, so we could meet sometime in January and plan like a grant reception in February.
Okay.
Okay.
So we could tell people that we let them know that they've received it and like be on the lookout for some sort of reception in mid-February, and we can figure out what that looks like and where it is.
That sounds great.
So in January, what looks good for you guys to meet?
Do you want to meet
I'm-
over Zoom or do you want to meet in person?
I'm fine with either.
If it's in person, does that have to be recorded?
No,
Okay. Whichever's easier. If it's it's either the week of the 16th or the week of the 23rd, right? I guess if you want to do it before or around the date that people are getting awarded, or do you want to do it the last week of the last full week of January, whatever's easiest.
yeah, I don't think it matters have to be when it's being awarded, because we'll be
Yeah.
meeting to basically plan the grant reception.
Sure.
So
I-
yep.
I know the 16th is Martin Luther King Day, so I don't know if people have plans for that week. So it's whatever works
Yeah.
for everybody.
That actually is the 1 week I am out of the country that week. So that one won't work for me, but any other week in January I could do.
Well, it's either the 23rd or the
flexible.
9th. Week of
Yeah.
the 23rd
Um,
or week of the 9th.
I think my other town meeting I think we just set the 25th yesterday as our next. So, because
Do we
So
want to do
that-
the week of the 9th?
yeah, that week would be great.
Okay.
That would be better. Do you want to meet at the town hall or the library, or do you guys want to do Zoom?
I'll do
Um,
whatever's comfortable for anybody, if it's whatever's easiest.
I'm really flexible on that.
Yeah.
I guess right now it's easier for me to just do Zoom, but if
Okay,
you guys want to meet in person, whatever you think.
Well, so for me, any night that week looks good so far.
yeah, I don't see the board of select, I mean, often for me, I,
Yeah.
because of my position, sometimes it's a board of
Oh, right.
selectmen. But I don't see them meeting on the 10th, so. So it's either
Yeah.
11, I mean, I guess the 11th or the 12th, Wednesday, Thursday. That way we're not doing it on a Friday night or a Monday.
Yeah, sure. How about the
Yeah.
12th?
Okay,
I can do the 12th.
Okay.
Okay.
Will you be sending out a invitation?
Yes, I can through, yeah, through the town email.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, when I reserve a Zoom, it sends that out.
Okay.
So next meeting is Thursday, January 12th. All
and
right,
does 7 work for everybody, or do you want to make it earlier?
7's fine.
Okay,
That sounds good.
cool. All right, so then I just need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
second,
Okay, so then roll call vote, Hanson, yes?
Healy's yes.
Weber, yes.
Kesselman, yes?
All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much, guys.
Oh, thank you for
Thank
doing all that
you.
work.
And
putting it all
we'll-
Nice to
together.
meet you guys.
Yeah.
You
we'll-
too.
Nice to meet you, and happy holidays to everybody.
Yes.
Thank you. You too.
likewise.
Bye-bye.
All right.
All right, take
bye.
care. Bye.